clearly bothered by it to some extent. I'm wondering what you think about it.
I don't think he's bothered by it. I think he's bothered by how much other people are bothered by it.
So you don't think that he cares at all?
I mean, they had a large conversation about it. If he didn't want her to do it, he could have just told her not to do it. No?
He seems really happy with his daughter. He was traveling around Europe. He just got married. He was on his honeymoon. I see him like pushing his daughter in the swing. And then I go on his podcast and he's like, yeah, I just let my wife do a BBC poll.
This might be like, this is probably going to be the best OnlyFans.
What is he going to buy? Like if he say he has an $8 million net worth. What I saw is like he seemed like it was making him uncomfortable. And I see it like in a couple months, he's going to start regretting this and continue to try to justify it.
The perception in these like really weird like red pill communities where you guys think it's okay for you to like step out on your woman, but it's not okay for the woman to step out on the guy. I think for most people,
it's not red pill. It's just everybody.
No.
Everybody.
That's red pill. That's only red pill.
It's not red pill.
Go and talk to any country movement. Men don't cheat on their wives, and it's okay. That's not true.
What do you think about this whole Adam22 thing? He's what I've been messaging him back and forth for a lot of time, and people are making memes about. I saw a collage of like the four of us, like the Cut Coalition. I think it's funny. And Adam, I like the fact that he seems really happy with his daughter. He was traveling around Europe. He just got married. He was on his honeymoon. I see him like pushing his daughter in the swing. And then I go on his podcast and he's like, yeah, I just let my wife do a BBC. And I'm wondering because in my opinion, I like the guy, I really do. But he has all these Satanist stuff in his office. He has like the Antichrist tatted on his face. He says he's an atheist, but atheists always tend to embrace Satanism to some extent. I don't know about you. That's a bigger thing that we could talk about. But he seems to be coping now on Twitter. He seems to kind of be justifying it. And he's like saying that, I like this and it turned me on and all this stuff. But he's also like feeding into the trolls and it clearly bothered by it to some extent. I'm wondering what you think about it.
I don't think he's bothered by it. I think he's bothered by how much other people are bothered by it.
Which is still bothered by it.
Well, no. It's bothered by other people being bothered by it, right? Like, when somebody calls me racist, that upsets me. It doesn't upset me because I'm racist. It's upset because they think I'm racist, right? There's a difference there, right?
Okay, so you don't think that he cares at all?
I mean, they had a large conversation about it. If he didn't want her to do it, he could have just told her not to do it, no?
I don't even, it's the whole thing doesn't make sense. It's like if you're going to do it for money just so that you could sell some OnlyFans stuff, the guy's a multi-millionaire. You don't need to do this for money. It seems weird that he did that like a couple weeks after his marriage.
If you say multi-millionaire, I could be wrong. I doubt he's worth more than $10 million. Unless
whatever, but there's no reason like the thing like, oh, I'm just doing it for money is also cope because you don't need to do that for money. That's the last thing.
Well, but it could be a ton of money. This might be like, this is probably going to be the best OnlyFans.
Okay, but what is he going to buy? Like, if he say he has an $8 million net worth, what could he doesn't? That's not going to give him a lifestyle upgrade whatsoever by having his wife do BBC. What was your read on it?
If it 2 or 3x's her income, it could. I mean, it could change.
Okay, but right? Yeah, what was your read about speaking to him about that? What I saw is like he seemed like it was making him uncomfortable, and I see it like in a couple months he's going to start regretting this and continue to try to justify it or go deeper down the rabbit hole. And also another moment that I had on the podcast was like, what are you going to do about your daughter seeing all this stuff? Because I like the fact that he's become a father and he seems like he's maturing. And he even said that having a daughter was way more fulfilling than the hundreds and hundreds of women that he slept with. And I'm like, that's good. He seems like he's on the right path. And then he does this. And then I asked him, like, how are you going to explain this to your daughter?
They already did. He's already got a ton of tattoos. They already literally shoot. They do a podcast with women that they afterwards, right? Is this going to be the thing that
this is different? This is okay, but it's so even if it's not just about the difference that it has on the child, the perception is the biggest part about it.
The perception in these like really weird like red pill communities where you guys think it's okay for you to like step out on your woman, but it's not okay for the woman to step out on the guy. I think for most people
it's not red pill. It's just everybody.
No.
Everybody.
That's red pill. That's only red pill.
It's not red pill.
Go and talk to any country movement. Men don't cheat on their wives, and it's okay. That's not true.
It's not about the in between the relationship. Is also public perception, because what I'm saying is that the kid is going to get bullied for this and it's going to come up, and what matters more than just like how the mother and father deal with it is public perception. So once the daughter sees that and sees like, okay, mommy got BBC'd, that's going to be different on the child's mentality than, okay, like they did some threesome. Both are bad, but one is completely different, because that's the type of that's the number one biggest humiliation ritual for a white guy.
Maybe if you're racist.
That's just true. I mean, it's the number one subject for white guys. It's always like black on white.
The obsession
that is
with,
the number.
like,
it's not an obsession. Look,
it
Desi,
is an obsession. The idea that like if my girl like
well, it's a white guy obsession, but I am talking about public perception.
It's a black guy in red pill space. It's a black person obsession too. I think that if you were to poll the average red pillar and you were to give them a woman, you say, would you rather she fucked like 5 black guys or 1 dog? I think they'd rather like or like 5 dogs or 1 black guy. I think the guy would rather take the doggy woman like every time. Like the obsession with BBC and black guys, white chicks or any chick is really weird, and that's true of like everybody in these red pill spaces, even black guys.
Sure, but you don't think that this is going to be a problem, because this is something that's completely new where we're trying to normalize this. OnlyFans is one thing, which is also bad, and like Instagram pictures is another level, but something like this, what lasting effect do you think that this has on a child's mentality?
I don't think that, if you want to talk about what is the effect that doing like public like podcasts or has on child's mentality, that's one thing to talk about, but like to separate out like the BBC from everything else they do, I just think is really weird. But in terms of like the child's mentality, I don't know, it's probably gonna be rough. Any child with like a famous parent or a parent that does porn or whatever, there's probably gonna be extra challenges there that you've got to deal with as a parent, I would imagine.
What did you notice when you were sitting on the podcast talking about it? I've seen it's still gets brought up so much with you. It's starting to die down more with me, but it's always going to be there forever. What was your read of talking to him about that?
It seems like he tried a thing for having his wife do some things. He's having like some feelings about it. Almost everybody does, women included, after threesomes. Like, you know, they start to feel differently about it once they've actually seen it. Who knows where he'll actually settle on whether or not he thinks it's okay to do in the long term or not, but that's probably something he's thinking about a lot, I guess, I would imagine.
Okay.
But everybody has like feelings about like one of the most common like relationship enders for sexual things is like a woman is like, oh, I want to do a threesome, and then they feel good about it and they want to do it, and then they do a threesome with a boyfriend and they watch the boyfriend the girl and like,
and she gets traumatized, right?
Yeah, she's like, I don't think I like this at all. Yeah, but so I mean, it's common, it happens. Yeah. So
I see you're downplaying the public perception of it, because that is important. Whether or not it bothers you personally more, the public perception does matter quite a bit, right? Like a woman doesn't get humiliated the same way when she goes in a threesome and feels bad about it the same way a man does, because that removes your masculinity. For a woman, it might make her insecure, but that doesn't remove her femininity.
I mean, it's just going to depend on how secure they are in themselves. If you're secure in yourself, then public perception is who cares. Public doesn't live your relationships, you do. I don't know how Adam feels about his, but I would never let the public dictate to me my sexual activities or my relationship history, because most of these people are virgins, and secondly, why would I let them? They don't live my life, I do.
So do you think that taboos exist for a good reason?
I think that is a taboo is probably that's really good that's a taboo, but like having threesomes or doing things where all parties are consenting and like, I don't think that's necessarily the worst thing in the world. No, I don't think there needs to be a taboo around everything.
Right. So
I appreciate that, Destiny.
All right, bye.
Remember to hit that like and subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell so that my videos show up right in your feed.